In a time before time, longer than you could ever imagine, there were creatures that roamed the earth. Okay, so maybe not one of my better intros, but welcome to Disney Animation Reviews. Don't blame me for not trying, because I did. As you can probably tell from my slightly unrehearsed introduction, we're talking about a movie about dinosaurs. Yes, today's topic is Disney's 39th animated feature film, Dinosaur, which it actually wasn't added to the canon until about 8 years after its release. It was an experimental project by a group called the Secret Lab that unfortunately closed down a little more than a year after the film's release. But it was a good experiment, I think. Dinosaur's history, after Fantasia 2000 came out, 2000 started a bit rocky. They had the direct-to-video sequel, an extremely goofy movie, which was the sequel to a Goofy movie, and they had the theatrical Winnie the Pooh film, The Tigger Movie, both of which came out in February 2000, with an extremely goofy movie getting mixed reviews, but it was slightly better than the first one, based on reviews, while The Tigger Movie got slightly better reviews than either of those, and did moderately well at the box office for a theatrical film. Dinosaur was released to theaters in May of 2000, and it was an interesting kind of film. Disney had been wanting to do a computer-animated dinosaur movie for years, and once computer animation was where it needed to be, they decided to give the dinosaur film a shot. It was a pretty good idea. The original idea was that it was going to be, I think, a Stegosaurus as the main character, and a T-Rex as the bad guy, with a lemur as a sidekick. But it was deemed to be too dark and violent for a family film because it was going to end after the battle with the extinction of the dinosaurs. It got shelved for a while, but after Toy Story was a success as the world's first ever computer animated feature film, Michael Eisner, who was head of Disney at the time, decided to give the dinosaur film another go. They ended up changing the characters. The main protagonist changed from a Stegosaurus to an Iguanodon, and the main villain became a Carnotaur instead of a T-Rex. Like the original idea, lemurs were supporting characters to the dinosaurs. Dinosaur, like I said, came out in May of 2000, but wasn't added to the canon until about 8 years later in March of 2008, and isn't even included in the canon in other countries. It was a box office success. In fact, it was the highest grossing animated feature film of the year worldwide, but got only mixed to positive reviews. I've only seen Dinosaur a couple of times, and it's been a while since I've watched it, but I think I remember fairly enjoying it. I mean, it's obviously not as good as the Renaissance era Disney films, but I appreciate what they were going for. So, here's my thoughts on Dinosaur. One thing that it does really well is like the first 5 minutes where there's no dialogue and it's all action and pantomime. Actually, the first 5 minutes of the film were the teaser trailer for this movie, which played in theaters with Toy Story 2 and was also on the home video release of Disney's Tarzan. Which they did. That preview didn't have the opening narration that the movie has, but it does have what's after that, where a mama dinosaur is watching her eggs, and then they get attacked by a Carnotaur. Only one of the eggs survives, and after several adventures, it ends up landing on an island. From there, the film continues on beyond the trailer, and although the lemurs are reluctant to accept the egg, knowing it'll hatch into a newborn dinosaur, they take the risk and become friends with the dinosaur, who they name Aladar. They teach him to not eat them, and they grow up happily until one day a meteor destroys their island, and they're forced to follow a bunch of other dinosaurs, led by the ruthless Kron and his sister Nera, who becomes Aladar's love interest, to the nesting grounds, which is basically the dinosaur version of the Promised Land. One thing that immediately strikes me about this film is the backgrounds. Disney combined computer animated characters with real-life background settings. They filmed in such places as Death Valley, the islands of Hawaii, Samoa, and numerous other places to get the backgrounds. And then they animated the characters on the computer. On the DVD, they talk about something called the Dino Cam that helped them with their research. Whereas the backgrounds are fantastic, the story and characters are less so. The story is a fairly generic one, get people to where they need to be. It's the journey plot we've seen numerous times before. And the characters really aren't anything all that special. The voice acting is okay, with people like D.B. Sweeney as Aladar, and Mats Casella, Timon in Lion King on Broadway, as his lemur friend Zinni, and Samuel E. Wright, Sebastian the Crab in The Little Mermaid, and Mufasa in Lion King on Broadway as the villainous Crime, along with some other actors like Alfred Woodard, Hayden Panettiere, Juliana Margulies, and the late Ossie Davis. But otherwise, the characters really aren't that good, and the vocal performances don't add too much to their personality. One thing I do really like about this movie, besides the backgrounds, is the fantastic score by James Newton Howard, especially during the opening and closing scenes of the film. Howard did a really great job with the score. He went on to score a few other animated Disney features as well, with Atlantis and Treasure Planet. Honestly, there's not much else I can say about this movie. Like I said, I like that Disney was trying to experiment with something new by doing a movie about dinosaurs. I mean, I love dinosaurs, as you can see here. But unfortunately, Dinosaur is a fairly generic feature film. Probably something you should only watch once or twice every couple years or so. And definitely not something you should watch with little kids. It was Disney's second PG-rated animated feature film in the canon after The Black Cauldron. And in some countries, that film's not even included in the canon. Instead, they have Disney's 2006 fully computer animated feature film, The Wild. But that film did even worse at the box office and got even worse reviews. So, be thankful for those of you who live in America and have Dinosaur in the canon. At least that one's better than The Wild. I do think it's also better than The Black Cauldron, and maybe even the future Home on the Range, but yeah, Dinosaur, maybe check it out once or twice every couple of years or so, but don't watch it with little kids, and really the only good things about this movie are the backgrounds and the James Newton Howard score. That's about it. Dinosaur was released on video and DVD early 2001, with bonus features including 2 audio commentaries, deleted scenes, lots of behind-the-scenes material, look at the Dino Cam to see how they got their shots, and maybe a game or two for DVD-ROM stuff. One of the commentaries carries over to the Blu-ray release of the film from fall of 2006. Dinosaur was the first animated feature film to ever get released on Blu-ray. There's a couple of bonus features exclusive to the Blu-ray, but that's about it. So, you've probably guessed from my reaction that I don't enjoy Dinosaur that much. I like it better than some of Disney's Drac from the 40s, or actually most of Disney's Drac from the 40s, but it obviously doesn't match up to the better films from the Renaissance and Revival eras. So maybe give this one or 2 tries, but if you don't like it, that's okay with me. Luckily, we've got some better animated Disney features coming up in the later weeks. But we're out of time for today. Remember, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Bye.